I'm 30, and I've been friends with Catherine, who's 29, for over 10 years. So when she asked me to be a bridesmaid in her destination wedding, I said yes without hesitation. I've practically made her wedding my second job these past few months. I helped her handcraft all the centerpieces, addressed every single invitation by hand, planned the entire bachelorette weekend, and even lent her money early on for deposits when they were tight on cash. The wedding is next month at a luxury resort in Mexico, one of those all-inclusive deals that doesn't come cheap. I've already spent a fortune, paid for my flight, my share of the group hotel booking, my bridesmaid dress plus alterations, and covered extra costs like the bridal shower and the bachelorette trip. Altogether, I've shelled out over $5,000 Canadian dollars just to be part of her big day. It wasn't easy on my wallet, but I did it because she's my friend, and I wanted to support her. Then everything fell apart. Out of nowhere, Catherine decided to change the bridesmaid dresses just 3 weeks before the wedding. I had already bought the original 1 month ago, and she'd approved it back then. But suddenly she announced she hated the dresses we picked and wanted us all to buy a different style and a new color. The replacement was way more expensive and would need rush tailoring to fit me in time. I simply couldn't swing it financially, not after everything else I'd already spent. The original dress was around $300, but the new one, once you add taxes and rush fees, came to about $800. I told Catherine I was really sorry, but I couldn't afford another dress, and asked if I could just wear the one I already had. It was still in the same color family, not like it would completely clash. I even offered to rent something similar to the new one if that would help. But she lost it. Said I was ruining her vision, and that being a bridesmaid meant doing whatever it takes to make her happy. I reminded her of everything I'd done already, that I wasn't trying to be difficult, I just didn't have an extra $800 lying around. The conversation got pretty tense. She kept saying I was letting her down. I told her she was being unreasonable. By the end of the call, she kicked me out of the bridal party. Later that day, I got a text saying I was officially out because I didn't care enough about her wedding. I was blindsided, but honestly, a little relieved in the moment things had gotten so intense. I figured fine, if I'm not in the bridal party anymore, I'll still show up as a regular guest and support her. Turns out, I was wrong about that too. A couple days later, Catherine and her fiancé went full-on nuclear. They said they didn't want any drama at the wedding and that since I wasn't a bridesmaid anymore, I shouldn't even bother coming. I was stunned. I had already spent thousands to be there, and now I was being told not to come at all basically because I couldn't afford a different dress. And it gets worse. I had booked my resort room through their group booking to get the discounted rate. Catherine told me they'd already canceled my reservation on my behalf. The resort was fully booked now, so even if I wanted to stay on my own, I couldn't. And since the cancellation came so close to check-in, I couldn't even get my deposit back. Same thing with my flight, it was a discounted fare and non-refundable. At best, I might get a partial credit, but definitely not the full amount. I called the resort in a panic, hoping there was some mistake. But they confirmed that the travel coordinator for the couple canceled my booking, and since it was a group deal under Catherine's name, there was nothing they could do. The deposit? Gone. So yeah, thousands of dollars, just gone. When I reached out and begged them to at least let me come as a guest or just keep my hotel room for the vacation I paid for, Catherine's fiancé told me flat out, "We don't want you there. Your finances are not our problem." I lost it. I was furious and hurt, and I let them know it. I reminded them how much time, money, and effort I had put into helping them. I said if they wouldn't refund me or let me attend, I'd warn others how they treat their so-called friends. Not my proudest moment, but I was just so done. Catherine hung up, and her fiancé told me to screw off and stop harassing them about the money. After that, I got kicked out of all the wedding group chats. A couple of our mutual friends, who are still going to the wedding, told me Catherine's saying I backed out because of personal issues. She's spinning it like I dropped out on my own, just to make herself look better. So now I'm sitting here out over $5,000, dumped from the wedding, ditched by someone I considered a close friend, and apparently labeled the dramatic one. Some people are telling me to just let it go, weddings make people act crazy, they say. But Catherine and her fiancé are accusing me of trying to ruin their wedding by bringing money drama into it. I don't know, was I really the one in the wrong here? Should I have just sucked it up and bought the stupid dress? Well, I guess there's a small silver lining. I won't lose every cent I poured into this disaster. Tiny relief, but I'll take it. And wow, shout out to everyone who encouraged me to take legal action. At first, I was honestly just heartbroken. I figured maybe I should eat the loss, walk away, and avoid even more drama. But after reading so many comments, especially the ones from folks with legal knowledge, I realized I wasn't crazy for thinking this was wrong and that I had every right to go after what they basically stole from me. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I paid for a hotel stay I'm not getting because they cancelled it behind my back. So yeah, I've started the process for small claims court. I sent a formal demand via email first, as many of you suggested, laying it all out. I basically said something like, you cancelled the reservation I paid for and refused to give me a refund. I'm asking for reimbursement of X amount, by date, or I'll be filing a claim. The groom responded with a smug, dismissive message. Pretty much just LOL, see you in court. So, okay then. Challenge accepted. I've been gathering all my receipts, payment records, text messages, everything. I'm filing this week. It sucks that it's come to this, but I'm not wealthy, and I can't afford to let $5,000 vanish because someone I thought was my friend suddenly decided I didn't matter. One of the other bridesmaids, I'll call her Jen, actually reached out to me after Catherine kicked me out. Apparently, Catherine told the rest of the bridal party that I dropped out because I couldn't handle the costs. She was clearly trying to make it look like I bailed last minute for flaky reasons. I told Jen what really happened, and she was completely shocked. Said she knew something felt off because Catherine had been acting weird. Jen's still in the wedding, but she and I are on good terms. She even offered to give a written statement or testify in court if I need it, since she saw firsthand how much I did and how the whole dress fiasco unfolded in the group chat. I'm not sure I'll need her to, but it's good to know someone else saw the madness go down. A couple other friends, not in the wedding party, have heard the full story now too. I originally kept quiet because I felt embarrassed, like maybe I overreacted or did something wrong. But after reading the support from people online, I realized I had nothing to be ashamed of. So when they asked if I was still going to Mexico, I just told them the truth. Let's just say Catherine and her fiancé's reputation has taken a bit of a hit. These friends are upset. One of them, who had planned to go as a guest, even told me she's thinking of skipping the whole thing because she doesn't want to support that kind of behavior. I told her it's totally her call, and I'm not asking anyone to boycott the wedding, but yeah, it meant a lot that she had my back. Update 2. So, something unexpected happened. Catherine's mom called me. I wasn't trying to involve her family, but I'm not shocked she found out. Small town, loose lips, word gets around. One of the mutual friends I had confided in apparently ran into her at the grocery store and let her know how awful it was that I got kicked out over a dress. Catherine's mom called me sounding apologetic and clearly upset. She said she'd heard bits and pieces of what happened and wanted to hear it directly from me. So I gave her the short version. Her reaction? Absolute disbelief. She said she did not raise her daughter to act this way and even offered to reimburse me herself if Catherine and her fiancé refused to. I was honestly taken aback. Her mom has always been sweet, and I could tell she truly felt bad. But I told her, gently, that while I appreciated her offer, this wasn't something she should fix. Catherine and her fiancé made the choices, and they need to take responsibility for them. If she bailed them out, they'd just learn nothing and still feel justified in how they treated me. She agreed. Said she planned to have a serious sit-down with them. She also hinted that I wasn't the only one Catherine had been clashing with lately. Apparently, there have been issues with vendors, drama with the groom's family, and more headaches behind the scenes. Sounds like I wasn't the only one getting hit with bridezilla behavior. Reaction to the legal threat. Anyway, small claims case officially filed. It's happening. I haven't served them yet, but that part's coming soon. After Catherine's mom called me, I decided to send one last message, just to give them a final chance to settle things civilly. I texted Catherine and said something along the lines of, just letting you know I filed a claim to recover the money for the resort, booking, and related expenses. You'll be served soon. I'm still open to resolving this out of court if you prefer. She left me on read. No reply. But the groom? He decided to chime in, with a voicemail, no less. He left this long, angry message where he basically called me a horrible person for ruining their wedding by taking legal action. Said I was money hungry, that I'd already upset Catherine enough, and that if I ever truly cared about her, I'd stop. He also accused me of being bitter about not being in the wedding anymore and trying to get revenge. Honestly? That voicemail just made me more determined. The hypocrisy was wild. They cancel my trip, keep my money, and now I'm the bad guy for asking to be reimbursed? Please. Oh, and remember that friend who said she might not go to the wedding? She actually followed through. Told Catherine she wasn't attending because what they did to me was unacceptable. Apparently, that caused a whole separate meltdown, and now Catherine's furious that people are turning against her. But this friend didn't sugarcoat anything. She told Catherine point blank, or over text, not sure, that if people are backing away, it's because of how she treated others, not because of anything I said. From what I'm hearing, a few others in our social circle are starting to pull back too. I don't know how deep the fallout is in Catherine's world, but it sounds like the vibe heading into the wedding is tense, to say the least. A few people have asked me if I'm still going to use the travel credit to take a vacation anyway. For now, no. I thought about it, but I really don't want to risk showing up at that resort and getting accused of crashing the wedding or being some kind of stalker. I might save the credit and take a trip somewhere else in the future. Right now, I'm just focusing on staying calm and letting the legal process play out. The wedding is about 2 weeks away. Unless something else explodes, I probably won't hear much until after the fact. I am a little worried they might try to retaliate, maybe post something nasty online or try to paint me as the villain. But I've kept every message and receipt just in case. Some folks suggested I make a public post to warn others, but for now, I'm staying quiet on social media. If they want to claim I ruined their wedding, I want it to be crystal clear that they brought this on themselves. I'll post another update if anything big happens, probably after the wedding, when people might start spilling some tea. I have a feeling this story isn't done yet. Update 3. So, the wedding happened. And wow, grab a drink, because the post-wedding drama is already wild. Obviously, I didn't go. But I heard from a bunch of people who were there, including Jen from the bridal party and a couple of guests I'm still friendly with. According to them, the whole event had a weird energy from the start. People noticed I wasn't there and were asking questions. Jen told me at least a couple guests who knew me casually came up and asked, "Hey, where's my name?" Catherine had apparently instructed the bridal party to keep answers vague, say something like, she couldn't make it. So that's what they did at first. But then, things got messy. At the rehearsal dinner, a mutual friend of ours, someone I'll call Anna, showed up at the resort uninvited. Catherine hadn't planned on her being there, but get this, Catherine's mom asked Anna to come. Apparently, she wanted someone there for emotional support because of how tense things had become. Some context: Anna's family is super close to Catherine's. So this wasn't totally random. I never meant to cause problems. I just couldn't afford it. And now I'm out a bunch of money and a friend. So yeah, the rehearsal dinner, that's where things really popped off. Anna showed up, like I mentioned, because Catherine's mom invited her. And at some point, someone casually brought up my absence, just a harmless, "Oh, too bad she couldn't make it." And Anna, who truly does not give a single damn, straight up said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "Oh, you mean because she got kicked out for not buying a second dress?" Yeah, that happened. Wish I could have been there just to watch the looks on people's faces. Apparently, it caused quite the stir. The groom's family was like, "Wait, what?" And that one blunt comment cracked everything open. People started whispering, asking questions, and piecing together what really went down. Catherine and her fiancé tried to get ahead of it and spin their version, but it was too late. The truth had started leaking. By the time the actual wedding rolled around, a decent number of guests had caught wind of the drama, probably thanks to Anna, Catherine's mom, and the natural magic of wedding gossip. Jen told me later that a couple of Catherine's own relatives came up to her during the reception and quietly asked if I was okay. They said what happened to me was awful. Jen told them I was doing all right and promised to pass on their well wishes. But here's where it gets even messier. Catherine apparently got a little too deep into the drinks and ended up having a full-on emotional meltdown at the reception. She started crying and ranting to her bridesmaids that I betrayed her and ruined her wedding by turning people against her. Mind you, I wasn't even there. Sounds like the guilt, or maybe just embarrassment, finally caught up to her once people started realizing she hadn't exactly told the full story. The groom had to calm her down, and they ended up leaving their own after-party early. Wild. Jen filled me in the next morning, and I also got a message from Catherine's mom. The mom told me the wedding had been a little chaotic, and Catherine was very upset. She asked if I'd consider talking to her daughter once they got back from the honeymoon to help smooth things over. I politely told her that I wasn't interested. Not right now, at least. I'm not going to comfort someone who still hasn't made amends or owned up to what they did. I'm not here to ease her conscience while I'm still sitting here with an empty wallet and zero apology. Also, side note, remember how they canceled my hotel room? They ended up giving it to one of the groom's cousins since it was already paid for. He apparently had no idea what went down. He just assumed I'd canceled, and he lucked into a free spot. I don't even care about that part anymore. But it does show they had no intention of refunding me. They were going to make use of that room no matter what. As for the lawsuit? Oh, they got served right before they left for their honeymoon, according to the process server. Not my problem. I haven't heard from either of them since, but I imagine that timing didn't help their pre-vacation stress. From what I hear, they're off enjoying their honeymoon and pretending everything's great, while half their friend group is quietly done with them. I've had multiple people reach out since the wedding, some were there, others just heard about it afterward, all of them basically saying, "What the hell happened?" Most were shocked and disgusted by how they treated me. For now, I'm giving them space. I'm not out for revenge. I just want what I'm owed and to be done with this mess. Court's scheduled in a few weeks. We'll see what happens. Update 4, the court hearing. Okay, so here's the part I've been waiting to share. We had our day in court, small claims, and I've got the result. Catherine and her now husband actually showed up, which I wasn't sure they would. I was there with everything: receipts, screenshots, texts, proof of payments. I even brought printed statements from Jen and another friend, in case I needed witness support about the dress drama and the hotel cancellation. The judge listened to both sides. Their defense? That the money I sent them was a gift, and that I chose to back out of the wedding. Basically trying to paint it like I got cold feet and they had no responsibility. Meanwhile, I stayed calm and showed the messages where Catherine literally told me I was out and not welcome. I also walked the judge through every dollar I spent, the cancelled reservation, and the fact that I was cut off without a refund. Let's just say, the judge wasn't buying their gift argument. In the end, the court ruled in my favor. They were ordered to pay me roughly 3,700 Canadian dollars that covered the hotel deposit, the bridesmaid dress, and the non-refundable portion of the flight. I didn't even go after every single expense. I left off stuff like the bachelorette party costs, but I got the big stuff back, and that was all I really wanted. Catherine looked furious. The groom muttered unbelievable under his breath, but neither of them had much else to say. Funny enough, as we were leaving the courtroom, the groom muttered something like, "Hope you're happy." I just told him, "I will be when I get the payment." That was that. Update 5, final wrap-up. Okay, this is the final chapter. I wanted to wait to update until I actually had the money in hand. And yes, they paid. On the last possible day of the court-ordered deadline, but the check showed up. A bank draft for $3,700. I deposited it immediately, and let me tell you, it felt amazing. I used part of it to pay off the credit card I'd used to cover all those wedding expenses. That alone took a huge weight off my shoulders. As for the social fallout, it's been interesting. The friend group kind of fractured. A few people are still weirdly loyal to Catherine, mostly folks who weren't close to me or who've bought into her distorted version of events. But the majority? Yeah, they're done. Over coffee with Jen and Anna recently, they told me that even some of the wedding guests, people I barely knew, were appalled once they heard what really happened. One of the other bridesmaids, who I barely even spoke to before, apparently told Catherine point-blank after the honeymoon that what she did to me was completely out of line. She's still in Catherine's life, but she made it clear her opinion of her changed big time. So yeah, Catherine lost more than just a court case. She lost a lot of people's respect. She and her husband have been laying low online since then. They posted some very polished wedding photos with a caption that read, "When people show you who they are, believe them." Which is hilariously ironic, given everything. Most of the comments were the usual congrats stuff, but I did notice a few mutuals staying quiet. Quiet shade is still shade. Also, this little karma nugget, I heard from someone that the resort charged them an extra fee for transferring my cancelled room to the groom's cousin, since it was a last-minute change. So in the end, they didn't even save money by screwing me over. Beautiful. I'm doing fine now. Losing a decade-long friendship sucks, but the truth is, the version of Catherine I saw during all this isn't someone I want in my life. I'll hold on to the good memories, but I'm not clinging to the bad ones. I'm thankful for the friends who stood by me, and honestly, for all the internet strangers who gave me such solid advice and encouragement. No more wedding drama for me. I'm officially retired. Next vacation I take? 100% on my terms. No bridezillas, no drama, just peace. Alright Reddit, that's a wrap. OP out.